Hey quilters, today's show is all about the Go Grapefruit Slice Throw Quilt for this AQS AccuQuilt-Along.
Stay tuned to see what we're doing today.
Hi quilters, I'm Pam Heller, AccuQuilt's cutting expert.
And I'm Erica Botker, AccuQuilt's creativity expert.
Happy Valentine's Day!
Yes!
And welcome to part one of the Go AQS AccuQuilt-Along. Today we're going to show you how to cut and organize your fabric using the Go Tangled Star die.
That's right.
It's one of my favorites.
I know, me too. Plus, we'll have live question and answer all throughout the show. So the team is going to send us the questions that you want answered, and we'll do our best to answer them for you.
That's right. So be sure and ask any questions you have in the comments section from wherever you stream our show. And then the lovely Erica has her laptop
I've got
up here.
my laptop right here.
We're going to answer some stuff.
We will. So today we're going to go over how to cut your fabric for this block. We're going to use the Go Tangled Star die, but keep in mind that we want everybody to be able to participate. So if you don't have the die, you can go to the introduction blog and find the traditional cutting directions there, along with the download of the free paper templates.
Okay.
And then we're going to talk about organizing our pieces because
Yes.
it's important with this one.
Lots of pieces to keep track of.
And variations. You know,
Yes.
you see if somebody out there is going to go rogue. Lots of people have already started test blocks.
So many of you have made test blocks and made rows and blocks.
And it's amazing.
But it's a great chain piecing die.
It is.
All right, so let's
It
take
is.
a look at it.
Okay.
So we actually have two in the studio
I'm gonna
so
get
that
this
we
out
can
of the way.
we can put our fabric where it needs to go. All right, so first of all, it's on a 6x24 die board. It's going to fit through all of our cutters, including that Go Me.
Right.
You want to make sure you have a 6x24 cutting mat. Erica, what happens if they try to use the 10x24?
You know, you could have, A, it won't fit through a Go Me that way.
Right.
B, you could have some wiggle and you could mess up your cuts. And we love our fabric way too much to do that, right, quilters?
We do. All right, so you're going to notice that, first of all, on the die, the pieces are sectioned by colors. Okay?
Right, right.
And we have dog-eared corners and rounded corners, and all of the pieces are labeled with screen printing. So this is what we call a directional die. All of the fabric needs to face up.
That's right.
And the pattern gives you sub-cutting instructions for your fabric so that you can lay those pieces up. If you try to fan fold back and forth, what's going to happen, Erica?
You're going to be really sad, and you're going to need to recut, and you might not have enough fabric. So none of those are good options.
None. Okay, so look here. So I just want to point out two shapes. There is an AR and an ER, and an A and an E.
And they are not, in fact, the same.
They are not, in fact, the same. And these are already reversed for you.
Right.
So fabric facing
Up.
up. All right. But a 1/4 inch seam allowance, you're going to have those great dog-eared corners. Okay, Erica, I would never cut the shapes with a rotary cutter
No.
or a template.
No.
It would just take way too long.
I did when we were testing the die, but that was the one and only time. And I must say it still turned out great. So.
All right, shall we talk about our blocks and how we're going to lay fabric down?
Right. So I'm going to tell you, no matter how you're cutting, just before we go any further, there's a couple of things reference tools that you might want to use. And the first is, for sure, you're going to want the pattern.
Yep.
Okay.
It's a free downloadable from AccuQuilt.com.
And it's right inside. It's got all the information that you need. And if you're using different colors like Pam and I are, like I am anyway,
Yep.
I've written my colors down in my pattern.
You have, and I did as well. And I also wrote the sub-cutting instructions, like it'll say the size of shape for B, F, and G. And
right.
those
It's got
kind of
all of that right there. So this is a sample of my block. I am using a variety of shades of blue grunge by Basic Gray for Moda. Now, remember, this block is actually going to have you turn your blocks on point.
Right.
So it gives it a very different look. From this way, just that quarter turn makes such a difference.
So can I show them in the quilt?
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that.
Okay. So here's that block. Okay. It's turned on point. You're going to need setting squares and the 10-inch finished setting triangles. Keep in mind, quilters, this 10-inch setting square die is built for the go big. It won't fit in your go. So that it's going to cut 10.5 inches, it's going to finish to 10 inches. This block finishes to 10 inches, so that's why we're using the setting triangles. But it gives it a whole different look once you put those pieces on point.
It really does.
I really like it a lot.
I do too.
And it's great because you only need 9 blocks.
That's right. We're starting the year kind of, we're working our way into the new year, right?
Yes, yes we are.
So show us your block.
All right, so I'm also using basic gray moto grunge. It's one of my favorite things. And actually, Erica, this is quite honestly the first time I've ever not gone rogue and kind of done the pattern colors.
Right, right.
So I liked this a lot. I don't, this minty green is your color. It's not really mine.
It is.
But the pinks are really mine. And again, I'm going to turn those blocks on point. So now if you want to try something completely different, check out Go Quilt on the AccuQuilt website. It's a free design tool that allows you to change the colorways of thousands of patterns, including this one. So you can either choose colors that we have in a library, you could take collections of fabric that we have on our website,
Yes.
or you could take photos of your fabric and upload them to see.
That's
And
right.
you're gonna need 4 kind of contrasting colors.
Right, right. And we've got our first question. Peggy is asking
Hi, Peggy.
if we can add a border or more blocks. Absolutely.
Yeah, so Peggy, it's funny you say that because as I was cutting mine, I was thinking maybe I want to go one more row and one more lengthwise. So row and row, is that what they are? Rows and rows?
Yes.
Yeah, but yes, you could totally add bigger borders. I really like this because it's kind of a lap size quilt.
It's a nice, I mean, it's like you could use it for a lap quilt, you could use it for a baby quilt, you could use it for a wall hanging. It's just a real versatile size. It finishes to, wait, we can even tell you, in case you didn't know. It finishes to 42 by 42.
Yeah, so if you added an extra row on the bottom, it would add 10 inches and 10 inches, so it would be 52 by 52.
Oh, a little bit more because it's actually there on point,
yeah, because
right?
it's there on point. So
So-
let's see how big that makes it. 14 inches.
Right.
So, all right.
There you
That's
go.
a great question.
That is a great question. Now, while we've got
Do
this,
you want to talk about?
oh, yes. Now, like we mentioned in the beginning, we're going to answer any of your questions that you've got. So just pop them into the comments and we'll answer them, right?
Yep, just put them in the comment section wherever you stream our show.
Now, there's one other thing that you might want, because I started to get a little confused. It happens, right? And that is the block assembly directions. And these can be, this is for the Go Tangled Star die. I'm holding it towards him.
There we go.
Yes, I'm holding it towards him. This can be found on the Go Tangled Star page. You can just free download. And it will, the really helpful part I found was the page that showed you the letters and how those laid out.
Yeah, and don't stress about that because
Don't stress about it. We're going to show you how to chain piece them, but that's real helpful. And then that's also where you can find the coloring page. And a lot of people always ask about the coloring page.
Yep.
And
wait, so when you do
What?
when you hold it like this, I think it looks like a spider web, right?
there's a die for that.
I know, but you could also make the colorway
You
look
could.
like spider
You
webs.
could. We were actually talking about some variations beforehand. We'll get to that. Pat Francis wants to know how big is the center?
Hi, Pat.
And I'm not sure what part of the center.
This piece? I don't know. Tell us specifically what shape. We'll measure it. We have rulers.
Yes. So just tell us, Pat, and we'll measure it.
Hi, Pat. How are you? She's one of our top fans.
She is. She is. Oh, and Gwen said she thought the first so long was using a cube. Did I hear this incorrectly? Yes, I'm sorry you did. This is not a cube project.
No, this is the Go Tangled Star die. But we'll tell you again at the end of the show right now because it's Valentine's Day.
Yes.
We're having something 60%, buy one, get one
60% off, yeah.
which includes this Tangled Star die.
Yes.
So check it out on the website.
Great time to get it.
Yeah, today's a great time to get those setting triangles and setting squares and the Tangled Star die.
Yeah.
Because it's Valentine's Day.
Valentine's
Pairs,
Day.
60. I knew there was a Valentine's
There's
link.
60. There we go.
P-A-I.
IRS.
Okay. All right. All right, shall we lay out some fabric?
Yes.
Do you want to go first? Well, I'm going to go
Yes,
first.
you go first.
You already
You
have
go
yours
first.
done.
They're kind of the same. So
Yep. Okay.
imagine that.
Imagine that. So here is kind of my pro tip. You can always cut 6 layers of this.
Yes.
You can always cut 6 layers, but you need 4 for a block. So kind of what I did when I was counting my fabric, rather than trying to figure out how many total pieces I needed, I just put them in sections of 4.
Inside the square where the pinwheels are is what.
Oh, here. Do you have a
So-
ruler over there? You have a ruler.
Probably.
Okay, Pat, inside the square.
Inside the square. No, this is a
tell ya.
big one.
That's okay, I can still measure it.
So, and these pieces, I do have to tell you, this kind of goes along with the cube question. These pieces are specialized pieces. These are not shapes you're going to find in the cube or on other dies.
Okay, Pat, so I measured it, and it's going to finish to a 4x4 square. So here in the center, right,
Right, but it's not a square
a
square because it's, yeah,
it's a star.
right.
That's the name.
Okay, and Linda's asking
Hi,
about
Linda.
highly patterned fabric like a Tula pink for this.
Yeah, so let's talk about that for a hot minute. Because you want to make sure that your eye has a place to rest here.
Yes.
So if I was using a Tula pink fabric, I would probably do it here where I use the hot pink.
Uh-huh.
And I would make sure that my pattern was small.
Yes.
Because if you get, like for example, if you get elephants, you're
Right.
only going to get a piece of the elephant,
Right.
right? You're not going to get the whole
Right, and a lot of her prints are really,
Really
big.
big.
But she's got some great little dots that are
does.
smaller. But yeah, I think you want to go with a smaller size print. Now, one of the test blocks that I did, I had a tiny little black and white check, and that actually was really cute. I didn't know how it would look. Turned out great. But I think overall, I would say to be careful with the scale of your print
Yep.
and also having directional, because that's going to get, if that's going to bother you, that's going to get a little complicated.
Okay. Do you have more questions?
Oh, I do. So those 2 pages, the block assembly directions that I showed, those are found on the product page, or the download button is found on the product page for the Go Tangled Star die at AccuQuilt.com.
Yeah, just put in Tangled Star die, and then you can open it up, and then at the bottom it has all sorts of resources. Has a little video on
Yeah, just scroll down and you'll see it.
making
Right.
blocks.
Right, and it's got those step-by-step directions, which will match what you had on your Tangled Star packaging. But what's different is, of course, the coloring page.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to lay my fabric out. So I have followed the subcutting instructions, and I'm making sure as I'm laying out my fabric, all of those pieces are facing up. Okay, and I'm just going to barely cover my shapes. When you get here, quilters, you're going to notice that this little section right here, hold on,
I laid mine different.
I'm sorry.
I laid mine this way, and you laid yours this way, which would still work. I can still do that.
Okay, well then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a pin right here, and then I'm going to take my little scissors and trim off this corner. Did you not have to trim?
Well, no, because I already made a trim, and I did mine like this, so that I didn't have that.
Okay,
But I needed to trim over here, so I will need your scissors eventually.
okay.
Thank you.
Now, this is A, and this is ER, and you just want them to come right next to each other. And I am going to show you this super cool trick in a minute. after we cut these.
And Darlene has a question. I'm not ignoring you, but I don't want to get distracted from what we're doing here.
Because we just need to lay it down there. Okay, so because why did I cut it, Erica?
Because we don't want to violate the 6-layer law.
And it is a law. It is
Yes.
not pirate rules that are just kind of guidelines.
Right.
Because if you cut more than 6 layers, what's going to happen is you're going to, it's going to get stuck.
Yes.
Okay? So right here again, I'm going to trim off this little edge. Look, we have more than one pair of scissors here.
Do we? It's amazing.
Amazing, okay? So, and some of you are saying, well, why do I have to trim? Again, just take your little scissors and trim. Don't stress about it.
Right.
Okay? And then AE is this piece, which is, again, my good background piece.
Yes.
And you just want to make sure that everything is lined up and all the fabric works. Okay?
Okay.
All right, Erica, do you want to cut yours first, and then I'll give you a mat and you can cut
You know
mine?
what? Do you have a mat over there?
No, you have all the mats.
Do I? I don't see any.
Huge shout out to our team right there.
Oh.
Brock has organized the Dream Studio.
Oh, he has.
It's lovely.
He has. It's lovely.
And there should be one right over there.
Oh, there is. Oh, look, and there's another die too.
So many dies.
Okay. So I'm going to put mine through, and then I'm going to go to the back wall.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I'm going to the bathroom.
No.
It's like, okay, well, we'll see you in a bit.
Okay, quilters, I have to tell you, it smells so good on the set because we have cupcakes in honor of Valentine's Day,
Erica brought them.
and I didn't make them. I just purchased
them from our
and they
beautiful
look
bakery.
lovely.
We are going
Okay.
to eat them afterwards. And I wore Valentine's socks thinking we were going to sew today, and then I was taking off my shoes, but we're not. All right,
Okay.
wait. Do you want to
Okay,
run mine?
so, oh, I could. Okay, I'm going to scoop
We could have
that off.
actually run the, oh, look, see?
We could have done them both at once.
We could have done them both at once, which is kind of the trick.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, so you can go. I'm going to run this through. Oh, okay. So Froggy is asking about lengthwise grain. Can you talk about lengthwise grain? Because we had subcut it with the lengthwise grain the correct way.
Okay, so let me find some. I love that your name is Froggy, by the way. Okay. So here's the thing about lengthwise grain. Okay? Lots of stretch on that bias edge. But lengthwise grain, high and tight, listen. High and tight is what you want. So when I'm laying my fabric down here, let's say I'm going to cover these two shapes. Oh, look at that. Okay. I want the lengthwise grain of the fabric to travel through the cutter. If I have that bias edge, sometimes as it goes through the cutter, it's going to stretch, and then it's going to come back, and then it won't be exactly the shape you need. And we want the shape that you need.
I only had 2 layers on that one. Okay, so in cases like this, so let's look at this. This is my lengthwise grain. I had it going this way. So it was parallel to this blade as it went lengthwise through the cutter. So really we are still following that. And yes, you basically knew, Kathy said, don't you need a 1/4 edge over the edge? And yes, you do, but we did.
We did.
We did. And then Chris, hi Chris, from Rose City Originals.
Oh, hey, Chris Marchini, how are you, sweetie?
You must have missed when Pam said 5 times, yes, you have to have all your fabric facing right side up. You can't fan fold on this part.
Yes,
Now,
facing up.
quick, before I forget, Darlene had a question about embroidery. And she asked if there was room for embroidery. I'm going to say that you don't want to embroider in the center of this because there's a lot of bulk in there.
Yes.
And that's just a recipe for unhappy embroiderers.
And
But where you do have plenty of room, I'm going to go to the back wall, Greg, is that setting square.
I'll get out of the way.
Because this is
Yes.
10 inches by 10 inches. So we've got great real estate here, 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 and here to add embroidery. You could even use the setting triangles along the side. That's where you're gonna find your real estate for embroidery for this one. So it was a baby quilt. You even could tuck down like a baby something, you know, the baby's name or whatever in this little setting corner. But yeah, you've got great room for applique and embroidery in those setting squares.
Dang, I'm thinking I want to make mine bigger. I don't know if I've got fabric. Okay, so let me give you a little pro tip. So bob dies are block on board dies, which is what these are. They are designed to cut all the shapes that you need for one block in one pass through the cutter, which is a little different than cubes, right? Cubes, we're gonna take those 8 geometric shapes and we're gonna bind them together to make blocks. But this is a bob die. So here's what I learned. When I was subcutting my fabric for this, this is shape ER, and it tells you to cut a rectangle, which makes perfect sense, okay? So watch this. Can I have an overhead? Thank you. Okay, so there's ER. Now watch this.
Oh.
So this is my little pro tip for ER, okay?
And she still has her lengthwise grain.
And you could use a smaller mat. Will you cut
I
it for me?
could.
She's gonna use a 6x12 cutting mat.
I was going to use a 5x10.
Sure. Because remember, you don't have to cut all the shapes on the die board. It's only gonna cut where there's fabric and a mat. So for me, that's gonna save me because this is my good grunge. And then the shapes after, I was like, how is it that you have that? But now I know.
I have all your things. This is why
does.
I guess we've got a whole bunch of dies on the set with us today.
Right. Also, here's my other pro tip. So this little shape right here that comes after I do E and A, okay? Look at how there's still some really good.
Oh yes, I've got some saved over here that
Right.
I'm taking home because this, I mean, I'm gonna hang on to this.
Yes,
Now,
right, these
what
are
I'm
big enough
gonna
for
do
everybody.
with some of this stuff is, I think I've told you this before, but with some of these little stringy pieces, I cut those off and I stuff them into those clear plastic ornaments. And then they're on my little Christmas tree. I have a little pencil Christmas tree down in my sewing room that I've decided just to leave up all year and just add my scrap-filled ornaments to.
Oh, Erica, you would never. So on
And
Monday, I was at Missouri Star Quilt,
yes,
and I was helping them subcut fabrics for pre-cuts using our 10-inch square and our 5-inch square and strip die. And a woman, and I had a whole bunch of just end of the bolts for him, and I was going, and a woman came by and she said, "Are you collecting salvages?" And I said, no, I'm not. And she said, "Would you care if I went through your scraps and got the salvages?" So, just like Erica, who says
I have
salvages,
seen some great projects
she makes
with salvages. What does she?
she makes quilt as you go bags. So she puts it on batting and
Right.
sews them down, and then makes little bags with zippers on them.
How cute.
Okay.
We've got some questions.
I haven't.
So, yes, we do. So Terry K is in Columbus, Nebraska. Hello.
Hi, Terry. Terry, I know Terry in
Do you know Terry in
I
Columbus?
know a Terry in Columbus.
Okay, well,
He's a
Terry
quilter.
wants to know what kind of thread we recommend.
Oh, that's a great question. So I usually use Orifil, and honestly, quilters, I use this like dirty gray or green gray
Greeny
color.
gray color,
Yeah, I can tell you what it is. And you think to yourself, well, why aren't you using blue or purple, pink or whatever? I use that kind of green one because it seems to just melt.
Kind of melts into everything.
the fabric.
Yeah, I tend to use shades of that. But a 50 weight, no matter what your favorite brand is, like Pam said, we typically use Orifil, but I use Wonderfil pre-wound bobbins.
She does.
Usually in the light gray or in white underneath. And we actually sell those on our website. That's a finer weight, but it really melts in and helps you get really flat seams.
And we learned this great tip from Belle Bruner, who's the amazing English paper piecing queen. That's what she uses to sew or hand stitch her EPP together is that pre-wound bobbin, because
Right.
it's a lighter weight.
Right. Okay, 2 more questions. One is super easy. Are there any Y seams on this bob die?
None.
None.
None. Not a single
And it
one.
does look like that, doesn't it? But there aren't.
But when we get to that point, we're going to talk about pressing, because you want to press your seams open. Notice how my seams are open and nice and flat.
Yes.
And that way your block will lay.
And that was for Gwen. And then
Hi, Gwen.
Kathy is asking, she says she's a new AccuQuilt user, and how does she know whether a shape is directional or not? Which is a fantastic question. So
Bless you.
one way is if you look at it, you know, a half square triangle, a square, those are things that are not directional, meaning you can fan fold over them. All of these are directional shapes. That means, but the easiest way to tell is to read your pattern.
There, read the pattern,
Read the
because it's going
pattern.
to say, have your fabric all facing up, or it will say fan fold. If it says fan fold, which means go back and forth, it's not a directional shape.
So like a parallelogram in a cube is a directional shape. So it just depends on what you need to do.
Right. If you want them to go one direction, then they have to all be facing up, but both directions back and
Let's
forth.
see, I think I've caught them all. Team, if I've missed any, just let me know.
Hey, and a huge shout out to our team who's helping with comments today.
Yeah.
Happy
Okay.
Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's Day. Let's see. Yeah, so 1/4 inch over the seam. Let's see. It looks like Pam is laying out her fabric. Straight grain, we talked about that. Is there enough room to embroider inside the square pinwheels? Okay, we're good. We can move on.
Okay.
So now we've got some cut pieces. Now let's talk about how to store those. So I have in the past had a little travel box, and it's actually one of those that's, I think, designed for embroidery floss maybe, but you can move the little slots to make it bigger, and I've used that. But with this one, I just decided I had a lot of Ziploc bags handy. I use them for lots of different things, and so I had them handy. So I take them and I really high-tech mark a letter with a Sharpie. It kind of says E, and then I'm going to pick up my E's from here and just drop them in here. But Pam, clever Pam, has another idea, and I've done other things too. You
Yes.
could also, you know, pin them to a board.
Right.
You could do some other things as well.
Mostly you just want to make sure the E and the ER don't get confused.
And the A and the AR, yeah.
And the AR. But I'm super proud of you for using zippy bags.
Yes.
But here's what I did. So I love a good zippy bag. I love them, love them. But instead of keeping my pieces separate like Erica did, I've put them together in units that are going to be sewn together.
That is so clever.
So like E and F are going to be sewn together. And then A and B and D are going to be sewn together. So rather than keep them separate, there we go. Rather than keep them separate, I put them all together because truly, 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 this is an amazing chain piecing block.
Yes.
So right here, I'm just going to go through and I'm going to grab all my A's and my B's.
Oh, that's very efficient
Right.
of you. Yes.
And then my D, which I think is right here.
All right. So we are caught up right now on questions. So if you've got questions wherever you're watching from, whatever platform you're on, go ahead and put those in the comments section. Pam and I are going to do our best to answer them for you.
And don't forget, quilters, if you have not already join the AQS Project Parade Facebook page.
Quilting Project Parade.
Quilting Project Parade Facebook page. And we love, so many of you have already made amazing test blocks, shown us your colors, sewn pieces together
And
already.
we're seeing lots of great ones from quilters.
I think that that's really an important statement to talk about, is that we tell you to make a test block. That way you know which way things are going, and it just is going to be easier if you make one, not out of your good grunge, then it's going to help you just along the way.
That's right. That's right. Now, another thing we were talking about earlier was scrappy, because, you know, Pam and I, we love a good scrappy project. So we were talking about different ways that you could go scrappy with this. You could, because I think if you just went full out scrappy, it would be a little chaotic and you would probably lose your, the design elements of the
You would.
block. So you would want to keep, you know, the pieces consistent. So what about this? What if you took, one thought we had was, if you did like a black, gray, and white for these outer pieces, and then did all scrappy for the
Lights
centers.
and darks for the center.
Lights and darks. You know, purple and pink, and
Right.
yellow and blue, and just whatever.
Right. That would be super cool.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
like that. It kind of gives it that look of a log cabin quilt. Right. And then I love whoever asked the question about, you know, prints. You know, we've
Yes.
obviously used grunge here, but I'm going to tell you to just be real careful about those prints.
Right, and I've seen some beautiful ones done with prints. I think, you know, for the most part, like we said, it's not necessarily the print, it's, can I use a print? It's the scale of the print you're using.
Right. Right.
So think about it like that.
Yeah. But this was really, okay, we bought new fabric for this.
We did.
But it's also a great thing to kind of go to your, because you're only making 9 blocks.
Yes.
A really great idea is to go to your stash and kind of pick out 4 colors, you know, 2 that kind of contrast each other and 2 more that kind of contrast each other, and kind of see what you have in your stash.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think it's just a
absolutely.
great one.
You could do a lot of things. I mean, and we have other patterns. There are lots of other patterns dealing with this that use the same Tangled Star block on our website.
Right. And if you want to go a little rogue and you don't want to do a whole wall hanging, just do 4 blocks and make a table runner.
Absolutely. It
I
would be
mean, it's
very
just
pretty.
Really pretty.
And you could set them straight on, or you could set them on point and use your setting triangles.
Set 'em
Either
straight
way.
on. Look how fun that is.
Very pretty. They're gonna, those points are gonna line up. So you're gonna get a very different look however you wanna do it, but different doesn't mean bad, right?
No, and make sure you're using that hashtag AccuQuilt-Built on our Facebook page and our Instagram accounts, because then we can follow you and see.
That's right.
All right, quilters, you're going to also want to check out the AccuQuilt blog. The lovely Erica will have a post each Wednesday. So what did you post today?
Well, today it was about cutting out our pieces. So that's what you're gonna see on there.
fortuitous.
How fortuitous. Basically, it's going to mirror what we do here on the show. Imagine that, right?
Go. Be sure and sign up for those blogs. You'll be notified whenever the post goes live. And AQS is also posting as well, right?
Yes, so AQS will be updating their original blog post, which was at the end of January, so you can go back there and check that as well.
Sure.
And really, you want to be signed up for both blogs, because during this Quilt-Along, I mean, we're pretty much focused in on here, but we've got other stuff going on too, and so does AQS. There are shows coming up.
For those of you who are going to AQS Daytona, come check it out. I will be in the lounge
there.
the whole week. I know, we're going to cut blocks using the cube and allow you to sew them and take your blocks home.
Yeah, it'll be really
We're going to have
fun.
some giveaways. You can come and get water and charge your phone, which is really what you
Which
need.
is really what,
Really
yeah.
what you want to do.
Yeah.
You want to rest and do that. So I'll be at all the AQS shows this year. Not Branson.
Not Branson.
Everything but all of those. So, but AQS, a huge shout out to our friends at AQS.
That's right, that's right.
All right, quilters, before we end part 1 of our Quilt-Along for the Go Grapefruit Slice Through Quilt, let's announce today's giveaway winner.
Oh, yes, let's do. The lucky winner of $100 in AccuQuilt reward points today is, drum roll please, it's Pat A. from New Boston, New Hampshire.
Congratulations, Pat.
There was a lot of news. I wondered
There were so many
Hey,
news.
I wonder if she got a lot of snow. It seemed like there was a big
there
snowstorm
was
going
a big
through.
snowstorm. I saw a funny picture of like Branson yesterday had tons
Yeah?
of snow, and then the next day it had sunshine. So congratulations, Pat. I will go ahead and put those on your account today.
That's fantastic.
Quilters, don't forget, we have plenty of special offers available if you're on our website. So pairs 60, buy one, get one 60% off. It
Yes.
applies to cubes and bundles and dies and June Taylor products.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So like if you were thinking, was it just last week I did reversible t-shirts, or a couple of weeks ago? A couple of weeks
couple
ago.
of weeks ago.
Those
We've
kits,
slept since then, Pam.
buy one, get one 60% off. So it's a great
right.
deal. And talk about setting triangles and setting squares, Tangled
great
Star.
time to get those as well, or just fill in those gaps. Maybe you've got, maybe you have the
guys.
10-inch cube and companion angles and you don't have companion corners. Now's a good time to fill that in. Oh,
Mostly, it's going to, after the show, we get to eat cupcakes.
yes.
And so those are the lovely cupcakes.
Those are the lovely
that Erica
cupcakes.
brought in. They're super cute for Valentine's
And didn't
Day.
make, but that's okay.
Okay,
That's
Erica,
okay.
while we look at cupcakes, do we have any last questions?
Let's see here. Connie wants to know if we'll be showing the setting triangles today. You know what, Connie? Corinne, sorry. We're going to be showing those on the 3rd week.
So in 2 weeks from today.
So in 2 weeks from today, we're going to be showing those. They'll be in the blog. We'll be cutting them and laying out our top to put it together.
Yeah,
That's when we're going to be doing that.
Okay.
We just wanted to focus in on our blocks today.
Do we have other questions?
That is the last question that
forget your
I am
last two
seeing here.
All right, so one last announcement before we head off on our Valentine's Day and get ready for our next show. Be sure to check out Instagram on Friday because we have one of our new designers. Her name is Tiffany Turner. She's better known as Tip Stitched. She is going to take over our Instagram for the day. Last Friday, Chris took it over, and Chris took it over, and then last week it was Carolina Moore. And our go-getters have done such a fun job.
Oh, they have. They really have. Now, Tiffany is sure to be busy getting ready to go to QuiltCon because that's next week. It's the biggest modern quilting event in the world. It's being held this year in Raleigh, North Carolina. I don't get to go, so I can't wait to see what she has to share with us that she's taken along.
So if you're going to AQS, come find me. If you're going to QuiltCon, find Chris Marchini. He's going to be in our booth on Friday.
Yes.
Carolina Moore is going to be there, so expect
Right.
more showing bags. And our Tip Stitch gal will be
Stitch
there.
will be there, and Janine LaCour will be there.
So
and
many great
our
people.
retailer that'll have the booth there is Loving Stitches.
Thank you, Lovely
And
Stitches.
your retailer is,
Sure. I can't remember now. Had you not asked me.
there we go.
We'll find it out.
We'll find it out. Now, the other thing, we've got so much to share. Okay. Do we have a little project over there to show off?
Yes, I'm trying to think
Oh,
of who our
okay.
retailer is.
Cut up and sew.
Cut up and sew. There we go. Good job.
Cut up and sew. Not that we don't love you, it's just that we
And-
have a lot in our heads.
Jeannie Miller, who's one of our experts, is going to be
Yes.
there. And guess who I get to hang out in the lounge with?
Who?
Puddin'.
Jeannie Miller is like an AccuQuilt institution.
She
is so smart. She knows so much
smart.
about our system, and she is so delightful. You are going to have the best time.
And her best friend, Puddin', who's her childhood
Yes.
friend, is going to be with me in the lounge. Me and Puddin'. We're going to
That's
run it.
great. That's
All right.
great.
So this is February. We have a new die to
Right.
try. It is the Go Tractor die. And, oh, hold on here. I got to find the pattern so I can tell people. Thank you for putting a label on it, right? This is called Go Homegrown by our good friend Amanda Harward of Larkspur Quilts. Look
You're
at
sideways.
this.
There we go.
I was trying to read the pattern,
Yes.
the thing. Look at how cute this
So
is.
the tractors are die to try for the month. It is selling so quickly. So you don't want to dilly-dally when getting that. It's only available directly from AccuQuilt or from one of our retailers, our AccuQuilt retailers. Hopefully they will still have some at those 2 shows, but don't wait for that. Get them while you can.
And Amanda used our 4-inch cube to make those little 1-inch squares. And you
I
can
love it.
totally use the 1.5-inch strip die. Finish this
Love
1
it.
inch.
I love it. And if you're a red tractor person, you can always
Yeah.
change. We learned when we launched this that the color of your tractor matters
It does.
very much.
Okay, Greg, let's get a picture of the back because
Oh,
the
yeah.
back fabric is phenomenal.
It's like farm fabric.
Look at that. So fun. All right.
But wait, there's more.
Okay.
So much to tell you. February is National Embroidery Month. So all of our paid downloadable embroidery products on the website, those downloads are all 15% off for the month of February, including all the new ones for the Go Tractor.
Super fun ones.
So be sure you pick those up too.
Get the monster truck using Pam's pickup truck.
Oh,
tractor wheels.
yes.
I love it. All right, so don't forget, Friday on Instagram we have Tip Stitch. She's going to be fun to watch. She was a garment sewer. She is a garment
Yes,
sewer.
she is.
Like used to be. So it'll be fun to see what she does. All right, quilters, we hope that today's show is just what you needed to inspire you to get started cutting your fabric and storing your pieces for the Go Grapefruit Slice Throw Quilt.
See you next time.
Thanks so much for watching. To learn more about your quilting craft, be sure to follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for live events every Tuesday and Wednesday. You can check out the events page on the AccuQuilt website for more details on upcoming shows. And if you're looking for even more inspiration, visit our blog for exclusive tutorials filled with tips and tricks. And remember, at AccuQuilt, we help you cut time so you can quilt more.
Join us every Tuesday at 12 noon Central Time for launch parties and trunk shows. These events are filled with tips and tricks and inspiration. Next time, we'll be launching 4 new dies. You'll want to tune in and see if you've won a door prize that we give away during the show.
And be sure to join me every Wednesday at 12 noon Central Time for AccuQuilt Live. We have tons of fun. Next time, we're going to continue with this quilt along and sew our blocks together.